Good evening, everybody. I have to think where we are and what time it is. It's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where I am in Florida, it's 5 p.m. I know that in the UK, it is 10 p.m. or maybe just slightly after. As you can see, this is cracking up. We've got a K and an R-A, me, and a K, cracking up. And this is the time where we have lots of fun with three old ladies. I know, don't say anything. I'm not finished yet, everybody. I know you're jumping in and saying, yes, but there are four. What are they doing with four of them? Well, Karen is a visitor. It happens that she's a K as well. So we're going to be doing a cracking, as if we're going to stutter, cracking up. Are we including Chris? Good evening, Chris, and how are you?
Hello, Rosemary. Hello, Karen. Hello, Kay. And hello, Kay. I'm doing well.
My goodness me. Anyway, before we begin, first of all, I would like to say hello to my spirit guide, Gregor, who, as always, is standing to my right side between us. Now, and we've said hello to Chris. We've got, if when I say your name, girls, can you just raise your hands, please? It's all like being also, or a bit like being at school. So we've got K, is that as in chaotic? We have got KW. We've got Karen. There you go. So we're all in, and of course you all, I'm assuming you know me. I am Rosemary Altea. There you go. So we're all introduced, and we've got Chris in the background doing all the technology and keeping things straight, and she's going to be checking with the chats, and we're going to be going to the chat room from time to time to hear your questions and your comments. Now, remember, if you're not going to ask questions, if you just want to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and watch us, it's fine. But the minute we don't have anything else to say, we're gonna go. So questions, comments, whatever it is you feel like telling us or letting us know how you feel about this show and so on. We are going to be talking about a little bit of controversy initially, but not too much of it. And then we're going to be talking about soul signs and energy, and we're going to be giving you the best of our expertise. For those of you who have not joined us in Cracking Up before, the 2Ks, put your hands up there, girls. The 2Ks are my friends from the UK. Too many Ks in here, right? And we are the three old ladies. We are I'm much older than they are, of course. I'm ancient compared to the two of them. But we have lots of fun. We've known each other for KO. How long have I known you for?
Me?
Yeah, KO. That's all I can think to call you, KO.
Since 1988.
1988, so that's golly, whatever that is. And Kay?
1982.
1982. So we have known each other for a long time. Karen, how long have we known each other?
About 22 years.
22. Oh my gosh.
2000.
Do we feel ancient here? I mean, anyway.
Sorry.
So they know me more than 20 years longer than you have.
I know.
Now, for those of you, this is why we're the old ladies. Now, for those of you who are watching, who feel that my friend Karen here looks terrified,
I'm not.
especially when she looks at me.
It's 'cause
Am I terrified?
No, I'm
am I
just
terrifying? Am I terrifying?
No.
You know I am, though.
You can be.
Yes.
True.
I should hope so.
You're not terrifying.
I can be.
You're not terrifying.
No, but I
You're
can
my
be.
teacher.
I can be terrifying, though, right? But when she's looking
Not
at
tonight.
it's the trick of the cameras. But
Yeah.
we have had people say she looks as if I'm going to, what,
No.
snarl at you or snap at you or something.
I'm just paying
If she
attention.
says the wrong thing. Let me explain to all of you watching, it's just her face. She just can't help it.
Oh, dear.
And as far as I'm aware, she's not terrified of me unless of course I wanted to be, which is not tonight. Like, stop poking me. Now then, right, she keeps poking me. So now, all right, so let's begin. First of all, Chris, do we have anybody watching?
We do have people watching, waiting
Great.
for them to put things in the chat room, but maybe they're waiting for your subject.
Okay,
Ah.
right. So now, so Karen has been here for a week, staying with me for a week. You're from Canada, right? The Toronto area. Okay. And I've known Karen for, as she said, it's a good thing other people keep tabs on things, because 22 years, I've no idea myself. But anyway,
Since 2000.
since 2000. So, all right. So Karen was a groupie.
Oh, no.
Yes, you were. And she has become because she was so persistent, she's become a really, really good friend. So she came this week, and the first thing she asked me was, have you been watching the Johnny Depp thing? Now, I'm not sure it's the same throughout the rest of the world, but Johnny Depp, there's a court case going on. It's a defamation case. He's suing his ex-wife. She's suing him back. Anyway, there's this back and forth going on between them. Now, I have to be perfectly honest with you, I love Johnny Depp. I think he's one of the best actors ever. He is amazing. Everybody has their own opinion, but anyway, so you might say that I'm biased. However, I'm not a stupid person, and I'm fully aware of Johnny Depp and his problems, his drinking, his drugs, his stuff like that, whatever. But it's really not for me to judge. I don't judge anybody. We can say that there are a great artist born through drug-induced states. And anyway, so, but because of my friend Karen, she's been keeping up with the program. The court case goes on every day. And I've sort of gotten just a tad, I won't say hooked, but curious. And the thing that we want to talk about today is not who's right and who's wrong. I have my very definite opinions, very, very definite opinions. But the dynamic when you're watching the Johnny Depp, the dynamic when you're watching his lawyers, the dynamics when you're watching his ex-wife's, whatever her name is,
Amber.
right, whatever that is, she is, oops. Anyway, so the dynamic, the energy that they're putting out is fascinating to me, much more than the rights and the wrongs of the whole situation. You have, looking at the two of them, you have two people who, and you do wonder when you listen to them, when you watch them, and when you watch them in sort of interacting with their lawyers and so on. To me, it's very apparent which type of energy each one of them has. Now, some of you perhaps have never heard of soul signs. Give me the book here. Somebody asked me, we were talking about soul signs on one of our shows, and some wonderful person said to me, this book sounds so amazing. Can you tell me who wrote it? And we laughed because it's me. I'm the author of this. But anyway, I'm going to show you this soul sign. Now, soul signs tells us, there we are. Soul sign tells us, that'll do. Thank you, Karen. Soul signs tells us all about our soul's energy, the different types of energy that our soul is created from. And there are basically, and we're sort of getting down to very basics here. There are basically 5 different types of soul sign. And that's my chicken. Would you mind? Do you know how to turn the oven off? Sorry, everybody. It is cracking up, and we are, it's my chicken's done. Just look for the off button. Anyway, or just open the door and take it out. Use oven gloves. Don't burn yourself. I might have to go myself in a minute. But anyway, let's get going with this. So soul signs is really, I think, it's very crucial to know what kind of energy you are, because it helps you. If you know what kind of energy you are, what kind of energy your soul has been created from, then it helps you to determine which type of energy, which soul sign you are most compatible with, and which soul sign you are least compatible with. And I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Can you just give me 1 second? Alexa, off. There. Okay. Sorry. So now, it's sort of it's very interesting and it's very helpful, and we're going to talk about soul signs, and that's really the subject that we're going to be talking about. But you can absolutely see when you're watching this particular court case, it sort of really did come to mind, and it was very, very clear that the real issues between these two people is this incompatible energy that really is working so much against them, despite the cocaine, because they both have taken cocaine, they both drink heavily, they both do drugs, and so on and so forth. This is all coming out in the court case. But despite all of that, they are very, very incompatible in their energies. And we have the ex-wife, I'm going to refer to her as the ex-wife, who is a fire sign. We have a fire sign with us, don't we, Kay? Okay. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So we're going to...
I'm the bad guy here then. Okay.
You're the bad guy. You're the bad. Not really. No. Because fire signs can be lovely. But as we talk about them, we also know that when a fire sign, there are three different types of fire sign. There are 3 different types of earth sign. The same with water signs, 3 different types of water sign, and 3 different types of air sign. The 5th sign, we're not this 5th type of energy, we're not even going to discuss it today. All right. So within each soul group, I'm an earth sign, that's my soul group. There are 3 different types of soul signs, and each one of them has their, the positives and their negatives, and each one of them has the ability to be compatible with certain other soul types, and incompatible with certain other types of soul signs. Now, I'm an earth sign, and my least compatible soul sign would be a fire sign. So on the surface of it, Kay and I are the least compatible. We'll talk about that in a little while. But we're going to be talking about soul signs. And you can see when I see this young woman on the stand, and she's there with her lawyers and so on, she screams out to me, fire sign, fire sign, fire sign. And we know that there are certain fire signs, not all of them by any means, but there are certain fire signs who, if they can't get their own way, or if they get frustrated about something, or if their emotions get really out of control, which happens very often with fire signs, they can warm you, they can keep you warm, they can give you what you need, they can give you comfort and so on. But if they don't get their own way, or if they they can get easily frustrated, and in fact some can even burn the house down. And we can see with this girl on the stand, the only house, it seems to me, that she's burning down around her ears is her own house, but she seems to be taking along with her an awful lot of people. Anyway, so we were talking about this, Karen and I, and we thought it would be a great subject for cracking up. So why don't we go to the 2 of you, Kays, and you can talk about the soul signs that you are, and how do you feel, how does that feel to you? Does it feel comfortable to you? Do you feel comfortable in your own energy, or do you wish you were a different type of energy? Why don't we go to you guys?
Go for it, Kay. Otic.
Yeah, I'm comfortable in mine. I mean, there are always characteristics in other people that you think you wish you had a little bit more of that. But I think that's true of everybody, really.
Right.
But I accept what I am.
Would you like to tell people what you are?
I'm an old soul water sign.
You're a water sign.
Yes.
And that do you, and tell us a little bit about what that means for your character.
I suppose I tend to be I'm trying to think of the word. What's that? I said it earlier, didn't I?
You're a compromiser.
I'm a compromiser. That's the word I'm thinking of. Yes. So I compromise.
Yeah. So if
most of the time.
If we think of a river flows, doesn't it? It moves and it flows, and it can accommodate lots of different situations. It's only if there's a storm coming or the waves are crashing against the shore. Sometimes you can be that, can't you? Sometimes you can crash, but it doesn't last very long. Would you say? It's sort of, you can crash and then you can reel yourself back, and then you start to work out. And I think water signs are very good at working out situations and working out how to compromise. And sometimes I think the Achilles heel of a water sign, actually, I think, okay, you have to tell me, but the Achilles heels very often I see is that you can compromise yourself. You can be so busy making compromises for other people, you can compromise your own self and your own needs and your own wants, right?
Yeah, you find yourself saying yes sometimes.
Yeah.
Before you think about it, and you think,
yeah,
oh, shouldn't have said that.
right. Yeah. But now Karen is also a water sign, and you're listening and agreeing with all of this, and we're going to ask your opinion in a few minutes. All right. But so Kay, who little fire sign you?
Yes, fire. Hello. It's me. I'm here.
Look at
A
me.
fire sign. Yes, the bright star. What a pain in the ass she is. Anyway, I say that in all honesty. I look at myself in the past as a young fire sign, bright star, burning bright, full of energy, reactive, driven by emotion.
Often wanting to be center stage.
Always wanting to be centre stage and never knowing what to do with it if I got it. Now I feel quite embarrassed.
Well,
No, but I understand why it was there and what happened. And I think I feel really pleased to have been able to understand who I am so long ago through the book and through you, and have learned maybe to bank down the coals a little bit and not to shout and gesture so wildly. In fact, I'm becoming more of a recluse and more able to hide myself away and not shine at all. I quite like my own company.
Well, you do shine because you're an artist, and I think
yes,
a lot
but I'm not worried about what other people say or do about it,
Right.
I would never go onto a centre stage for any reason if I could, and here I am sitting here with you, but it isn't comfortable.
But it used to be when you were younger, it used to be what you wanted.
Well, I didn't even, when you say that, I did it. I felt propelled to do it, but I don't ever really I don't remember thinking, this is what I want.
No, but it was just you.
It was just
chaos. Driven by emotions is innately you.
Oh, chaotic.
And then, of course, that I am an earth sign.
Yes.
Now, earth signs and water signs are extremely compatible. Earth gives water a place to be. Water feeds earth. You see, it's sort of this coming together just wonderful coming together. One feeds the other. One gives the other a home, and the other feeds where that home is. And so therefore they're extremely compatible. And I think it's fair to say, KO, isn't it, that we've really been very compatible. We've always found a way through things. We've always had good relationships. We've rarely fought about anything. I think it's fair to say that we have that great relationship of knowing and being able to just feed each other and give to each other. That was definitely, and I think Karen, it's the same with me. With us. Say yes.
Yes.
She said, not sure making a point that she's terrible. Going to say yes anyway. Right? All right. But now we're getting to a little bit more sort of personal, but remember, we're talking about these things, but we are friends, long-term friends.
40,
so Kay, being a fire sign and my being an earth sign, you could definitely say that fire signs are my least compatible.
Oh, yes. I think you must have wondered, why on earth is this woman still in my class? Why on earth?
I knew why you were there. I just didn't quite know why you were given to me personally.
Well, can I tell you? Oh, you're so lucky. Aren't you so lucky?
Lucky, but I would say that with Karen and with KO, our relationship has been sort of smoother and easier. Wouldn't you say it's been?
Yeah.
We've had our moments. Yes, of course.
I drive you crazy because I can't decide what I want to do.
This is true. This is another characteristic of a water sign. Do I like the green tile or do I like the red tile? Do I like the green tile or the blue tile? Do I like?
Should I go to the?
Should I go to? Yeah. Should I?
Right away.
Yeah. Should I? What should I? And I'm fine. Right. For goodness sake, make up your mind. Just pick one and do it, because I'm a very determined and decisive person. So I think it's fair to say that that with Kay and I there have been moments where I have literally put you up the wall. Would you say, Kay? I've had to talk. I've had to be tough.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. I didn't stick my finger up your nose or anything nasty.
Not quite, but nearly, very close.
Really? Yes.
Because fire signs can be earth signs and fire signs. It can be a tough situation. And I'm a warrior soul, so it's even harder still. It's harder for me perhaps than one of the other three soul signs, earth signs. But I think that the thing that has kept us together is that we do respect each other.
Yeah.
And our lives would be less if we didn't have each other in them, would you say?
I definitely would say that yes. Yes, I was going to make a joke, but to be honest, absolutely right.
Even though there have been times when I could have killed you. in a good way, in a nice way.
I'm surprised. I'm sort of yeah. It's been a learning curve for both of us for 40 years.
Yes, it's been a learning curve for both of us. So everybody in the chat room is probably wondering, what are they talking about? So let's go to the chat room. Chris, have we got any comments or questions so far?
The comments first started out with happy birthdays and belated birthdays, since we know your birthday was yesterday.
Thank you.
We are finding out that some people are watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial and others have purposefully chosen to avoid it. Cheryl is saying she's an air sign. She hangs back all the time and hates speaking her mind. Agnes is saying, I have studied West nature medicine and have similar signs, fire, water, air, and earth. It still takes time to work with it and combine with herbs. Taraxtum, for instance, light up fire, and it's good for the liver and might be too much for fire types.
I'm going to cut you off there because we're talking about a whole different thing. Although I do appreciate, Agnes, that you're coming in here and talking to us about this. We are talking about the energy that our soul is created from. So we're not going into herbs and medicines, although they are relevant, but not relevant to this show. Not relevant to this show because we're talking about, in this show, we're going to be talking about compatibility. And I'm going to go to the 2Ks now and ask them if they have an example of someone who perhaps was let's say an opposite fire sign or a difficult, or maybe even the same fire sign, the same soul sign, so not fire sign, the same soul sign, who they either had great rapport with or it was difficult. And then let's discuss a little bit why it was difficult. So, Kaya, why don't you tell us first, do you have an example of someone who you feel is maybe an incompatible soul sign to you and how you deal with it?
Yes, I have a friend, and I think sometimes your friends are your friends despite what they are.
Yes.
And I think it's definitely the case with her. So although I'm friends with her, it's at I keep a distance and then I can deal with her. So
right. That's you as a water sign compromising.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say, because I know a little bit about this friend, I think it's fair to say she's a very emotional person, isn't she?
Yes.
So
yeah.
we're going.
She's full of good intentions, but just doesn't quite.
Yes. And is very emotional and little dramatic and so on, which indicates to me that she is a fire sign. Now, imagine that you've got fire and you've got water. They can be very compatible when they run side by side, as long as they don't touch each other. And as you said, keep a little bit of a distance. Yes. So, because you can't put out the fire, you don't get close enough to put out the fire and drench her, and therefore upset her, but she would think that you were a terrible person for just shutting her down. Shutting her off, cutting things off.
She wouldn't understand.
Right. So you're able to compromise because you are, because you are that water sign, and water signs will automatically, they can't help themselves. They will compromise no matter what. They just can't help themselves. And she sounds to me like she's very much a fire sign. And if she got too close to you as a fire sign, when you put water on fire, what happens? If you put water in a pot and stick it over the fire, it bubbles and bubbles and bubbles and bubbles until all of a sudden you're on overload and you're boiling over. And this is why what you've done in order to keep the friendship is to make sure that you stay apart from each other. You come together just enough to still be friends. You listen to her, she talks, you listen, she talks, but you feel that she's worth the friendship. And
well, I feel that there's a bit of a sadness to her, and I think she just needs to talk to somebody sometimes.
Right. And you are the person to do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, as an earth sign, I would find that difficult
Mm.
if I weren't a spiritual medium. If I didn't have my gift, I would find it very difficult, because if I did not have my gift, I would not be so understanding, and I would not be able to see beyond the stuff that's going on. I wouldn't be able to see why she is the way she is, and so on and so forth. But my gift helps me to be, I think, more giving of the benefit of the doubt, always trying to figure out why a person is the way they are, and so on. But typically an earth sign, a typical earth sign who is not, we talked about maturity, where, you know, we have, it's all about maturity. If we have the maturity, and Kay, I think you've just been saying, as you get older, you are becoming, you know, less crazy with your fire, and learning to bank the fire down and keep it warm, but not flaring constantly. I think it's with maturity we learn how to deal with things. But if you have an immature earth sign dealing with a fire sign, you're going to, let's look at it like this. You've got the fire is burning nicely. Fire will scorch earth if it's given a chance. If fire gets out of control, it will scorch earth. Who wants that? And earth will just simply at some point stand up and say, no, 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 let's put this fire out. And you'll just, you know, just completely annihilate, get rid of the fire, because earth will literally destroy fire. You literally will bank it, give it no air, and fire cannot survive without air. Now, we do not have an air sign with us at the moment.
I know, it's so sad.
But air and fire are very, very compatible. Except you, with all of us, we do have to be careful that you know, the air sign doesn't give the fire sign too much air, so that the fire sign rages out of control. That can happen too. But we're talking basics. Kay, can we have an example? KO, you've just given an example of somebody who is, you, because you are a water sign, you're able to compromise. But I'd like to go to you, and in some ways it's perhaps not fair, because fire signs are ruled by their emotions. But can you give us an example of perhaps other fire signs that you've come into contact, and how that works for you?
Yes, I've had at least one fire sign in my family, probably more, maybe 2 or 3 close relatives as fire signs. Looking back, obviously I didn't realize when I was growing up. And my mum was I'm a right-hand energy, proactive, productive, pushing forward sort of energy when I can find it.
You're the type of energy. When you read soul signs, guys, you'll know all about all of this. You have to educate yourselves. But when you are a sort of, let's say a right, an energy that sits to the right, you are a person who's looking outward, and you're looking towards other people. When you are a person who is on the left side of that energy, you're a person who's looking inward, right into yourself.
Yes.
Then, of course, there's a central energy, which is able to look both sides of a coin, much more able to compromise. I'm thinking of some good friends of mine. I'm thinking of Jeff and Andrea. She is an earth sign and he is a fire sign, but she's a central energy.
Yes.
So she's able to deal with that situation way, way better.
Is he a retrospective?
He is.
Yes, yes. Well, my mum is a retrospective.
Right.
And I grew up with her, very emotional, very strong-willed, very dynamic.
Drama.
Even more than me, I think.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
And and it isn't until looking back and I realize why it all happened and what it was all about and how
Right.
much easier it could have been if we'd all sort of got sussed and sorted it.
If you'd known about
If
soul
we'd known, that's
you'd
right.
known about-
Everybody's got to read this book because it changes lives. I'm sorry to say that, you know, plug, but it's true. All my girls, we all read it. We all live by it. We all look at it and know it. We look at people. We look at relationships. We stand there and go, yeah, well, that's not going to work, or that will work, or blah, 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 blah. And it's mind-blowing. It's brilliant.
yeah,
I know that's a bit
it is,
dramatic, yeah.
but you know, the idea of being, you know, having energy that is compatible or incompatible. I mean, it's not a new thing, but I think the way that soul science explains it, and the way that it explains how our soul, each of us, is created from a certain pocket of energy, from a certain type of energy, and you know, so therefore, we have certain traits which are stronger than other soul signs. Talking about your mother being a fire sign, I think that you were probably, and having to deal with your mother who is also a fire sign, you would clash because you're coming from different sides of the same.
I just don't ever remember really understanding what it was, or why she would behave.
Right, but from my point of view, my mother was a fire sign and a retrospective soul, like your mother. And I'm an earth sign, and my father was an earth sign. And it is a wonder that they didn't come to blows and kill each other. It is really a wonder that they didn't do that, because they were so totally incompatible and ended up hating each other. You know, sort of getting, as they were getting older, they so didn't understand, both of them. They didn't understand the other person. They didn't understand where the other person was coming from. Had they known about this energy, the type of energy, they might have been nicer to each other. They might have been able to say, well, he does this or this, or she does this or this, but they just can't help it. He just can't help it. He's an earth sign. That's who he is. And she can't help it. That she's a fire sign. That's who she is. And that way, people start to, once you understand the different types of energy, you start to be a little bit more reasonable, I think.
Well, yes, and give the benefit of the doubt, don't you?
Yeah, and to be more tolerant, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got 3 daughters, 2 of whom are fire signs. One of them's the same as me. So we sort of understand each other. And then my eldest girl is well, it's tip of my tongue now. She's a fire sign, middle energy.
Yeah.
So dreaming soul, that's right. So she keeps a level, and we don't always think that she's out there and doing things, but she's thinking and strategizing, and you know, she's sorry,
and dreaming,
because
that's who she is.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to just sort of come to Karen. Do you have anything to say so far? We're going to go to the chat room. So if anybody wants a comment or a question, get typing, everybody. While we're going to Karen. Karen, do you have anything to say to what we're saying so far? I know that you're following us. I know you're understanding what we're talking about, but do you have anything to say? Don't look terrified.
Well, if I think of different relationships that I've been in, I think I've had the same difficulties with fire signs.
Yeah.
But if I live with one, it's more difficult but again, we didn't understand in the relationship, if like what the other case says, if I understood it was a fire sign and what was going on, and the fire sign understood me and what I was doing, then
and the water, if the fire sign understood the water sign, and the water sign understood the fire sign, it would have been a healthier relationship.
Oh, totally.
It might still not have worked, but it would have been healthier.
It wasn't healthy.
Yeah, and so I think it's very important. And I know that there are so many people watching they've either gone through a divorce, or they are, you know, living in a relationship that for some reason or another, they don't know why it's not working. Believe you me, we do know why things don't work, because everything is energy. Everything is about energy. I think, you know, the people who are looking for love, people who are looking, not just looking for love, but I think people who understanding your children. Why do you love one child and get on with one child, and yet the other one drives you to distraction? And you're much more compatible with one child than the other. And there's such a lot of, I know there are a lot of parents who feel very guilty because they seem to prefer one child over the other child. And it's not that you prefer them necessarily. It's just that the one child might have an energy that is so compatible with yours, and the other child might have an energy that is so not compatible with yours. My daughter and I are both earth signs. She's a middle energy. I'm a warrior, and she's a whatever she is.
Visionary.
That she is a visionary, and she ever. So we get along really, really well. And my grandson, thank goodness, I'm pleased to say, is also an earth sign, and I suspect he is a little warrior. Very quiet, very timid, doesn't say too much, but when he says it, or when he's defending somebody, boy, oh boy, is he ever there. So you can
Nice.
understand your grandchildren, and you can understand why you are drawn to one child more so than the other, and not feel guilty about it, because understanding why you do it helps you to you know, to deal with the situation in a much better way, I think. Before we carry on with this discussion, we are going to go to Chris, another Chris, another K.
Chris with a K.
So how are we doing, Chris?
Good. I want to mention at this point, though, Rosemary, that when you take your consultations, you have had numerous conversations with couples that you can help them through their marital issues. But you have also met with mastermind groups who have internal issues with members of the group, and you can sort them out as well by knowing soul signs, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that once people in these groups understand the concept and they grasp it, you know, when you're, for instance, when you're team building, you're looking for a team of people to work, whether it's in business or whether it's in sports or whatever it is. Most people would look at their capabilities and their qualities in the work that they do, or in sports field, you know, this person will complement this person because this person can run with the ball, but that person can catch the ball. When I'm looking at people, I'm looking at their energy. And you can absolutely say, well, he might be a runner and he might be a catcher. But when they come together at that point, one is not going to give to the other because they are incompatible. They have incompatible energy. At some point, they will clash. So it's very useful, I think, if you have a business, or if you're sort of trying to organize groups. I think, you know, and I have worked in this field, definitely. You're able to say, okay, we're going, let's say there are 12 people, we're going to work in groups of 4. So that means you've got 4 teams. So you look at each person, and you definitely would never put a fire sign with an earth sign, because you know it's not going to work. So as far as you can, you would put earth signs and water signs together, and you would put air signs and fire signs together. Who was it who did? We had Donald Trump in this country doing it, and then Mr. Sugar. Is his name Mr. Sugar? What was that?
Alan Sugar.
What was Alan Sugar? What was the show?
The Apprentice.
That's right. So they get
that's right.
people together, right? They get groups of people together, and some work really well together, and some do not work well together. And if you knew about soul science, if you knew about energy and you knew about compatible energy and incompatible energy, you could really be on the winning team, because you would choose people on your team who have a compatible energy to you. So it's, you know, it's not just about, well, it is all about relationships. I was going to say it wasn't not just about relationships. It's not just about finding the right partner. It's not just about knowing your children better. It's not just about creating a better environment. Everything is energy, and it's about all of those things together. So I'm going to now, we'll go back to the chat room, but I'm going to throw this at you two Ks, because it is cracking up, and I want to hear from you guys. Can you think, and if you can't, it's fine. If I stump you and your mind goes blank, it's fine. Can you think of any situation in your life where knowing your soul group and knowing what type of energy you are really helps you to understand and to be more tolerant of somebody else? So just, I'm going to throw that out to you, but while you're thinking about that, Chris, let's go back to the chat room again.
And I wanted to finish up what we were saying. So you could have a speaking engagement or offer a webinar or some specialized training for people who perhaps are counselors or human resource people or supervisors or that sort of thing, to help them make a better performing team or help understand how to coach people, etc. So those are things you're available to do, correct?
Yes, I think, I think so many people have the idea that a medium is simply somebody who talks to dead people. And we all know that I do. That's what we do, right? But we've mentioned this before, there are many, many, many facets to the work that I do. And I don't necessarily need to talk to I use the word dead, and you all know, or should know, those of you who know me, I don't believe in dead, but I'm going to use the term because it's easier. If I was invited to go into a group of people to let's just say team building or whatever that's going on there, I wouldn't necessarily be talking to a dead aunt or a dead grandmother or a dead grandfather. It's about energy. It's about sensing energy. It's about me knowing just by feeling and being amongst people what kind of energy works. It's also about me being able to help other people to discover their own energy. It's not it's not about talking to the dead and figuring that out. There's nothing wrong with talking to the dead. Don't mistake what I'm saying. But it's, I would be coming in there using my senses, using my sensitivity, using my knowledge, using my ability to sense energy and to tune into energy. And of course, Gregor would always be there with me, but we would be working not in the capacity of giving messages, mediumship and so on. In that way, we would be working in the capacity of tuning into energy and figuring out energy, pretty much in the same way that, when we first go into let's say a house that is supposedly haunted, the first thing we do is I'm saying Gregor and I, we don't look to see who the dead person is who's haunting the place. First and foremost, we go in and we figure out the energy. We're looking for the energy and the type of energy that we're sensing in that place and that we're aware of. So Chris, let's go to the, excuse me, I'm wriggling. I'm very hot here next to Karen. Right, so we're practically,
she's hot stuff.
She is. We're practically, stop it. We're practically sitting on each other's lap. But okay, let's go to the chat room, and I'm reminding people we've only got sort of 10 or 15 minutes left. So if you want to ask a question or make a comment, this is the moment to do it. So
Christina's saying, I'm stuck between thinking I'm an air sign or a water sign.
Oh, wow. am I this or am I that? I can tell you now, if that's what you're doing, you're flowing between this one and you're flowing between this. I'm an earth sign. It drives me crazy. As Karen will know, oh, what shall I have for lunch? Shall I have this or shall I have that? Christina, if that's what you're doing, you're a water sign. Without a doubt, you're a water sign.
And it happens like that.
Just like that. Yeah.
It does. I catch myself constantly doing it
I know.
through the day.
Cheryl would
So should have that.
And then I correct myself and I go, just
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah, KO, you know how that is, right?
Me?
Yes.
I don't think I was
You're not as bad.
totally decisive.
No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're not.
And also, if you want to, I don't want to get mixed.
I don't know what that word means.
What?
Indecisive.
No, I know you don't.
Honestly, and that's wrong. That's bad because I ought to be a little bit more so.
Yes, but fire signs are driven by their emotions. You feel it, so you go with it. It's only afterwards that you think, should I have done that? What? But I'm too late then. Chris, anyone else in the chat room?
Cheryl would like to know, did the soul signs come from Gray Eagle?
It
Yeah.
did. Yes, it absolutely did. You know, I'd been working as a spiritual medium for quite a long time. And I was in California. I'd rented a house in California a few years ago. And, you know, it was one of those times I thought I'd gone there to relax and enjoy myself, and certainly not to write anything at all. And then when I was relaxed enough and chilled enough, Gregor said, right then, let's get down to it. And it's true to say that no matter how much you know about anything at all, really, there's always more to know. And no matter how knowledgeable we are about any one subject, we can always learn more. That's what I feel. Chris, keep going.
So with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, what signs do you feel they are?
Well, she is without a doubt a fire sign, lighting the fire and burning her way, and unfortunately scorching so many other people in her wake. And although it's sad, there's a lot of it which is not at all sad, because I think that she unfortunately is the kind of fire sign, very immature in so many ways, and allows her emotions and allows the fire to burn brightly to the point where I don't think she even considers or questions how many people she's burning. She's just got to do it. She's just driven by her emotions to do it. I think that Johnny Depp is certainly, I think, probably is a water sign. I'm torn a little between whether he's a water sign or an earth sign, but I think more a water sign, because he'll flow, he'll ebb, he'll flow, he'll move, he'll accommodate. But remember what happens when water comes up against a dam, it will hold and it will hold and it will stay and it will stay until, if it's pushed and the pressure really builds, once that dam breaks, whoosh, that's it. And the water, the fire sign is done. There's a deluge. Of course, then the fire sign gets furious and angry and so on and so forth. So you've got all this stuff going on between them. And I think, you know, in the relationship between the two of them, I'm absolutely certain it's some of her and it's some of him. And let's be sensible. It can't be just one person. But the court case is about whether did he punch her in the nose or did he not punch her in the nose? And I know what my feelings are about that. So anyway, moving on. Chris, keep going.
Well, since I'm looking at time, Rosemary, did you want to go back to KW and chaotic for that last question?
Yes, but we can give a couple more minutes. If there's anybody else, is there anything else going on in the chat room?
Not at this time.
Okay, great. All right. So the question was, can you remember what the question was, girls?
No. how you use the sign to deal with situations? Was it?
Yeah.
Something?
Is there a situation that you can think of that you might have been involved in where you sort of, as a water sign, and you know yourself as a water sign, you know, are you able to look at somebody else and say, oh, that person's at whatever they are, so you're more tolerant, or you're, you know, whatever? Has it helped you? Has there been any one situation, knowing soul signs and knowing soul signs fairly well, I think it's fair to say, has been any one situation where knowing about soul signs and knowing about energy has helped you to deal with the situation?
Well, I think subconsciously, I don't suppose on a conscious level, I don't suppose it registers. It's
Right.
something you automatically do. And I think that's a little bit water signish anyway,
Yeah,
if you see what I mean.
I do
So-
see what.
So I can't think of a specific situation, but I think it's a combination of knowing your sign plus your years of the experiences that you've had, because your experiences color your experiences, and you deal with things. You can have a situation that you dealt with as a younger person. You can be given this exactly the same situation years later, and you would deal with it completely differently because of that. You've had that experience as well,
and the maturity that you've gained through it too.
yeah.
Mm.
And I think that makes you understand people better. I mean, I understand my mother a lot better now. And some of the things I felt, gosh, as a child, but now I understand it. And it wasn't how I first interpreted it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see totally what you're saying. Kay, what about you?
I when you first asked the question, I immediately thought of countless young people, some with mental health issues, some with physical issues, children I worked with in schools in special and challenging units and young offenders and prisons and stuff like that. People that have always been on the fringes of society.
Can I just stop you for a second? Because some people might be listening to you thinking, well, what do you know about prisons? But you did work in
I worked as
So-
a teacher.
Yes.
As a sessional teacher in lots of prisons over the weeks, months and years, and lots of different education places, teaching art and basic skills, literacy, numeracy, that sort of thing, where people hadn't been in schools. And I spent a lot of years in a small unit in my local town with young people who were basically feral and couldn't go into a school and didn't really know how to sit on a chair. And I found my understanding of me and how my energy worked to be linked directly to a lot of the problems that these kids were having. And so I understood how to control myself by that time, and then understood how to help them to control themselves
When you're talking about controlling yourself and controlling themselves, you're talking about controlling and using your energy. Is that right?
Yes.
And
I
also,
I understood that my energy at their age was quite as raw as theirs was.
Yeah.
Or it was at that time. And learning how to develop and control my emotional energy, I saw the link between my behaviors as a child and theirs then.
Yeah.
And there was a link that I actually was really quite good at when I look back. It was exhausting, and there was a burnout period. I think I stayed in it for about 8 years, 9 years, but there was a burnout, and it was quite exciting and amazing how well these children responded, not just to art, but to, anyway, I'm going on a bit too much,
No,
but it was, and it isn't until I talk about it now that I realise why I enjoyed it so much, because it was such a personal link.
right. And helping you to mature and helping you to
Yes, absolutely.
helping you to understand
Yes.
how your mind worked and how you
Yes.
played such a huge part in dealing with other people.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And as always, you put it in the best words, but also in prisons. That I worked in a lot of prisons, and from Cat A to Cat D, and in sex offenders jails, where there was some really horrendous stuff been happening with these people and from these people. And I was able to understand where it came from, and obviously, try not to judge, make judgments on it. Yeah, it was a good experience.
And
Society often writes people off, don't they?
sorry, what did you say?
Society often writes people off,
Yes.
that's the sad thing.
Well, it's understandable, to be honest, because en masse, you understand why they're there. But sometimes they shouldn't have been there.
And I also think that if we could tap into a person's energy, tap into what soul sign this person
Yes.
is, and help them to understand
Yeah.
why they behave in certain ways, why they are driven to do things in certain ways and for certain reasons. And I think it's helpful to know about energy for our children, particularly.
Yeah.
To help them to understand, if you're going to get frustrated, this is the kind of energy you are. So this is the way you are able to channel it. And I think, knowing about soul signs, knowing about energy, we're able to help people. Once they understand what their energy is, we're able to help them to channel that energy in a way that's right for them, and good for them.
Yeah.
You can't tell an earth sign, just flow along here like you could a water sign. An earth sign, you would say, okay, you need, if you want to be successful, you need to climb. A water sign, if you want to be successful, you need to flow. An air sign, if they want to be successful, you have to teach them you've got to allow yourself to float and go with the crowd and move with the crowd, but float and sort of go along with things much more, because that's their energy, that's what they're best at. And with a fire sign, you have to say to a fire sign, okay, if you want to be successful, sometimes you need to shine brightly, because you have to show who you are and your creativity. But be careful, keep the fire damped at the times when you're not wanting to shine, or you're not wanting to take over the whole show, because you've got to let other people shine. Tamp it down a little bit, so you can help people to understand how they can move forward, how they can achieve what they need to achieve by using their energy, by understanding their energy, and by being able to, in some ways, to control it, or to allow it to flow, or to control it. I'm going to ask the both of you, because we are way above time now, and I know it's late there in England, and you guys want to go to bed. But do you have any last thoughts? If you're both parents, as we are, as am I, do you have anything you would like to say, not necessarily to a child, but if you had one thing to impart about energy, about soul signs, about what you've learned, any little pearl of wisdom, chaotic, I'm going to go to you first. What would you what?
My mind's gone a blank.
That's perfectly fine. Let's go to Kay first then.
Question
give you a minute.
again. What would I tell a child?
No, what would you? We've got people listening in on this show.
Yes, yes,
We've been talking about soul signs. We've been
yes.
talking about compatibility. We've been talking about energy. If you could give a little pearl of wisdom or
Okay.
a little inspiration or something to the people listening, excuse me, what would it be?
Take yourself seriously, but not too seriously. Read the book and then read it again.
Yes.
And then get everybody you know to read it, meet up, talk about it, sort it all out. Persevere. It's illuminating.
But some people, I had a friend at work who I had a couple who I gave the book to. One read it and said, "Oh, fantastic." The other one said, "I don't understand."
No. Can I tell you?
Some people are just.
Can I tell you why people don't understand? The people who don't understand, they are the people who don't read it properly the first time around.
Are they closed? Is that what they are?
Sorry?
Closed. Are they like closed?
No, I think it's that people forget the golden rule. If you're going to read this book, it tells you in the very first chapter, and thereafter it reminds you again and again, don't look at what soul sign you are. First find your soul group. Then once you
she still wouldn't listen.
Well, then they're closed-minded.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get the best out of this book, you've got to follow the golden rule. The golden rule is everybody wants to know what they are, don't you? You know, you want to read through the book and what am I? What am I? And I want to know this. And then once you've figured out what you are, then you want to know who, you know, what your friends are and your family are, right? You cannot do that with this book because there are basically 12 soul signs. There are 13, but we're ignoring the last one. So there are basically 12 basic soul signs. So people tend to think, which one am I? Which one am I? Which one am I? And they try to figure out what they are. And that's when they get confused. When you find your soul group first, you've only got a choice of 3 soul signs. Once you've figured out your group, I'm an earth sign. You guys are water signs. Kay, you're a fire sign. When you know, and there's an air sign. When you find which group you belong to, then you only have 3 choices. One of those choices you will immediately eliminate. That leaves you with 2, and you can work it out very easily from there. So, if you're going to rush out and get this book, the golden rule is soul group first, soul sign next. And I think, to speak to you, Ko, I think you're right. There are people who are never going to get it because they are closed-minded. And they you know, I had a friend when I first wrote this book. I was doing lots of experiments with it before we had it published. And one of my friends, she obviously was a water sign, and I was talking to her, going through it, and she said, oh, "Please let me be an old soul. Please let me be an old soul. I've always wanted to be an old soul. I'm definitely an old soul. I know I'm an old soul." Well, it turns out that she was a peacemaker. So nothing wrong with a peacemaker. Fantastic, wonderful. But she so wanted to be an old soul. And so you've got to come to the book and read it, not having any preconceived ideas of what you think you are. And I've done, it can be very funny. Actually, I've done groups of people, and I'll say to them, if you're this, sit to this side. If you're that, sit to this side. And you'll be amazed how many fire signs do not want to be fire signs. They just don't want to be fire signs. I don't know why, but they don't want to be fire signs. And I have a very good friend.
It's really tough.
As you're doing the whole thing, it's so funny because you see people going through it all. You see people moving. They're moving from the group they wanted to be in to the group that they obviously belong to. And it's so come at it with preconceived ideas. I think that's it.
Rosemary, can I read one last comment?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, this is from Barb. Barb says, after hearing you, I know I need to pay more attention to people, friends, and family as to what their signs are so that I am a little more tolerant as to who they are. Thank you, ladies.
Barb, we love it. Thank you so much for that comment. You see, look at us, girls. We have inspired
Yeah, that's great.
once again. And at the same time, with kRAk-ing Up, we've had such a lot of fun. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'd like to say thanks to the 2Ks. And I'd like to say thanks to Karen and, of course, to Chris. And let's not forget, we're obviously going to say thank you to Grey Eagle. We shall be back with kRAk-ing Up probably in another month. We shall be back. The three old ladies. Oh dear, what can the matter be? Old ladies locked in the laboratory. Anyway, you're not one of us. She really want to be.
I want to be. Oh, let her be. Let her be.
No. I did say she was a groupie. So she's, before you know it, she'll be in there. It'll be the four.
Oh, I can't be kRAk-ing Up.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
You've got Zoom.
So thanks. So all right, I'm trying to finish up now. We'll all be in trouble with Chris, who is another K sitting there thinking the time is going and it's going and go. She's in control. Well, she likes to think she is because she's an earth sign. But I'm the chief, so
I'm like,
I would like to say thank you to all of you watching. We, of course, have had a great deal of fun. I shall be back tomorrow morning with story time.
Right.
Goodness me, it'll be Saturday morning. I'll be back with story time tomorrow morning. In the meantime, say bye, girls.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. You've been great.
Good night.
And until I see you all again, everybody, please have a very blessed rest of the day and have a very blessed weekend, everybody.